Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're doing family history research, running legal due diligence, or maybe just trying to verify a personal claim, you've probably hit that exact same frustrating brick wall, trying to actually find public records online. Well, today I'm going to give you the exact key to unlocking vital Kansas divorce records completely for free, using literally nothing more than your internet connection. Let's get into it.
Have you ever tried to look up what's supposed to be a simple public record only to be instantly slammed with a massive subscription paywall? Or maybe it's confusing legal jargon or endless government websites that honestly seem like they were designed just to make you give up. It is incredibly frustrating, right? You're told these are public records, yet getting your hands on them feels like a top-secret mission. Well, are you ready to bypass the red tape? Because today, we are tearing down those paywalls.
Okay, let's dive into this structured, step-by-step manual that's going to serve as your ultimate guide. Here's our addenda for today. First, we'll get Kansas divorce records explained. Second, navigating online district courts. Third, finding free alternative sources. Fourth, troubleshooting search issues. And finally, key takeaways and ethics.
All right, starting off with Section 1, Kansas divorce records explained. So to clear the very first major hurdle most people face, we really have to understand the legal landscape here, because, well, not all documents are created equal. Think of it like this. A divorce certificate, which is managed by the Kansas Department of Health and Environment, or KDHE for short, is basically just a receipt. It's a confidential administrative document from the executive branch that simply proves the divorce happened. Unless you're the named party or an immediate family member, you absolutely cannot have it. But on the flip side, we have the divorce decree, which is handled by the district court. This is basically the public itemized bill of the relationship ending, and leave it to government bureaucracy to make sure everyone can legally see the fine print, right? It's a judicial branch document, it's a completely public record, and it contains all the nitty-gritty details of the settlement. So just to be perfectly clear on this, the divorce decree is the actual document you want to search for. Because the decree is a public judicial record under the Kansas Open Records Act, it is completely available to you. You get it straight from the clerk of the district court in the specific county where the divorce was filed. You really want to remember that distinction because it dictates exactly where you need to look moving forward.
Moving right along to Section 2, navigating online district courts.
Okay. Now that we know we're hunting for district court decrees, let's look at how to actually use the state's official digital tools. So Kansas uses this centralized e-court case management system. To get into it, you'll want to navigate to the Kansas District Court Public Access Portal. Once you're there, it's super simple. You just input your party name, so first and last, or the specific case number if you happen to have it. From there, you just filter your results by county and check the view status of the case. It sounds incredibly easy, right? Well, there is a bit of a catch when you're doing this from your own home computer. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the massive catch when it comes to the financial structure of this database. Basically, if you use the online portal from your couch, you're going to hit a paywall. It costs $1.50 just to run the search and another $1.50 to actually view the specific case details. That's $3 every single time you think you might have a match. Heavy researchers can even pay a $125 annual subscription. But hey, here is the ultimate workaround. You can bypass these transactional fees entirely just by going to your local courthouse. Using the public terminals right there in the building gives you the exact same digital access, completely free of charge. No way, right? It's that simple.
Now, a quick heads up here. While viewing those records on a courthouse terminal is 100% free, you should be aware that if you actually want to walk out of the building with physical paper copies in your hand, you are going to have to pay. Under Supreme Court Rule 1.03H, courts charge an independent statutory copy fee. That's typically about 25 cents per page, plus a little extra if you need the document officially certified. But, for purely informational searches where you just need to look at the info, the screen view is entirely free.
All right, that brings us to Section 3, finding free alternative sources. Look, visiting a courthouse in person just isn't always possible, especially if you live out of state. So let's pivot to some alternative, entirely free databases. And this brilliantly illustrates how the actual year of the divorce dictates exactly where you need to look, which is absolutely crucial for historical or genealogical searches. If you're looking for territorial or early state records, we're talking 1855 to 1951, you need the Kansas Historical Society. Then, in July 1951, the state mandated that copies of proceedings be filed with the KDHE. And finally, if you're looking for modern records, so roughly from 1999 all the way up to the present, you're in the digitized portal era. Knowing the date up front saves you from wasting time looking in a sleep digital database for a document that actually only exists on some dusty roll of microfilm somewhere.
For those deep historical searches, you have some amazing free resources sitting right at your local library. If your library is a Family Search affiliate, like, say, the Johnson County Library, you can literally just use their Wi-Fi to unlock hundreds of millions of digitized court records that are totally restricted from home viewing. Plus, if you simply have a Kansas driver's license, you get completely free access to Kansas digital newspapers. That's a real game changer for finding old legal notices of divorce filings. You can also hop on the Ancestry Library editions at your local branch to search historical indexes without ever paying for a personal subscription.
Next up, Section 4, Troubleshooting Search Issues. Let's talk about what happens when things get tricky.
So even with a fantastic toolkit, you might still hit a dead end. When that happens, try using alternate name spellings or variations. Or search the surrounding counties, because people very often filed in adjacent districts. You also really have to understand that not everything is public online. Under Kansas Supreme Court Rule 22, the system automatically hides sensitive attachments, stuff like child custody mediation files or sealed documents, just to protect people's privacy. Also, you gotta keep media transitions in mind. In places like Shawnee County, domestic relations cases prior to July 1999 aren't on the digital portal at all. They are strictly preserved on microfilm.
Now, I also want to take a second to bust a pretty common myth out there regarding costs. You might have heard about the Kansas Open Records Act, or KORA, providing a 100-page fee waiver for residents. Well, while that number 100 is totally accurate for general administrative documents from executive branch agencies, it strictly does not apply to vital divorce certificates or court decrees. Do not march into the courthouse trying to claim a 100-page free waiver. Judicial records fall under their own entirely separate fee structures.
All right, wrapping up the practical tips, let's head into Section 5, Key Takeaways and Ethics.
We've definitely covered a lot of ground today, so the crucial point is this. Always, always search for the public divorce decree, not the confidential certificate. If you want to dodge those $50 portal fees, head over and use the public terminals right at the local courthouse. For the older stuff, leverage your local library affiliates and the Kansas Historical Society. They are your best friends here. And finally, just remember that because of privacy rules and the naturally slow transition from microfilm to digital, not all records are going to be available with a simple online click.
Now, as you venture out to conduct your own searches, it's absolutely vital to keep this guidance from the Douglas County Clerk in mind. When you're looking into someone's background for legal purposes, only official court case records should be relied upon to prove accurate information. While these tools give us a ton of power and amazing access to public data, we all have a real responsibility to handle these sensitive family histories ethically, respectfully, and squarely within the legal boundaries.
And that brings us to the ultimate question for you. How will you use these public tools responsibly to uncover the history you're searching for? Whether you're mapping out a giant family tree or doing some necessary legal research, the keys are now officially in your hands. If you found this explainer helpful, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into navigating public records. Happy researching, and I will see you in the next explainer.